results they may still not go through. If we do see a result where Kingzone is upset by KSV and we see Rox Tigers beat Jin Air, then SKT, it doesn't matter how they do, they're out after what has been one of their worst seasons, but that's unlikely given Kingzone's domination. So all SKT can do is pile on victories. Let's see what MVP do about the Zac problem, because they are continuing to ban away Bang.
Yep. So SKT can be saved by either Kingzone or by Jin Air, is what you're saying. Very interesting. But the Olaf finally going to be banned, and it's on the blue side, which is interesting. Beyond hasn't necessarily been moving towards it as often as other junglers. In fact, never on his side.
And now you feel like if MVP first pick Zac, SKT takes Sejuani, and if it's vice versa, SKT is even happier. So when it comes to junglers, seems like Blank might be playing a fourth game of Zac, unless MVP really will first pick it away.
Well, Skarner still available as well and still seen as high priority, but ADD is going to pick up his Gangplank, one of his silent achievers towards the top side of the map. Hasn't been doing too badly. MVP have lost the majority of their games. He's still on a 40% win rate over 10 games, which ain't bad.
And he's played it really well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, it's not a champion that takes over lane. It's about playing the map with the ultimate until the late game. They never got to late game in game one, and if we see a Galio, which is already locked in, and a mid-game comp from SKT, the power pick might not actually have much value, given they're going to be against some Wombo friends.
Oh yeah, the classic Wombo duo in the Galio and the Zac. We are set up for some fun, bouncy times here, Papa Smithy.
No Zac ban, so no surprise. 4 games in a row on the Zac. Hard to say if Blank's back or if Blank's Zac is back, because he has been able to play this champion each time. MVP could look at some more proactive champions. Skarner does have a lot of options, but usually when we see this matchup, it's all about baiting away the Impale and using the Zac ultimate at the split frame to put that ultimate on cooldown and then still be a Zac with Elastic Slingshot to keep team fighting.
Yeah, we almost see this as the opposite pick. It's the Zac into the Skarner a lot of the times in a pinch for a lot of other teams because of that interaction you're talking about.
Now, Corki versus Galio was always a matchup. It's even better now that Galio's mana costs are a bit out of whack. They are very, very high.
Cooldown on Winds of War as well, meaning that he has to stick around a little bit longer to get those backline minions.
It's costlier and also available less, so that means pretty sad times as they're going to look to answer the Gangplank in the first round. Would you love some magic damage, MVP? Because 3 helpings are there. I don't know if that's the serving size that MVP can deal with, and the Vladimir is locked in. And that means the diet goes very high on magic damage, also very high on Wombo.
Yeah. In fact, Antara hasn't played it, but the Vladimir has been picked up 3 times by Tal.
He's playing a lot of it in solo queue as well, so he's got his eye in. You can go for Ignite, and you do see Ignite already for Tal, as you can go Ignite, Unsealed Spellbook, and turn into the teleport later.
Yeah, means that it's going to be oppressive for ADD, who's just going to want to try and weather the storm in the early levels.
I mean, you kind of are already in full weathering mode on the side of MVP, but that might end up aging their chances to make it out of the relegations, because things are looking like they're going to be very spicy from SKT.
Yeah.
Are we going to be piling on with more initiation? And Alistair wouldn't go amiss on the side of SKT, but they don't want to give MVP any Alistairs either.
No, they're going to just take it away themselves. Of course, Xayah is banned, but Rakan is available. They want some extra knock-up availability from the support position.
Effort did play Xayah Rakan with Bang, but Rakan as a power pick has so far been limited to teams like Tucson from Afrika and also BBQ with Ignar.
Yeah. Well, final ban is going to be the Thresh. We've stuck into the support role here as far as getting things away from both MVP and SKT, but what is Effort going to play, or what are we going to see in the AD carry position? It looks like Bang is going to hop over to the Caitlyn potentially.
And
Caitlyn, a few other options.
Caitlyn to me would represent a takeaway pick from Pilot rather than a power pick for SKT. They haven't been able to use Caitlyn very well in spring season. Sorry, you remember that he was actually very late to debut Caitlyn.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic on Caitlyn a couple of series ago against BBQ. I was actually expecting the shoe to be on the other side. I thought it would be Ezreal, as everyone else from SKT is going on the dive. But they don't want to give up lane control in the 2v2, so they take a block of Caitlyn to ensure that they have 3 lanes that can have a lot of options when it comes to pressure.
Well, this would be an interesting one. Pilot, of course, debuted with some great games on Tristana very early in his career on MVP this season, but it is going to be the Ezreal once again. That Tristana lane into Caitlyn is very painful, so not going to opt into it, and it's going to be Ezreal once more.
But you're really worried about MVP Atlas because SKT get the support counter pick after all of this. They have the Vladimir into GP, and while Galio's at his kind of worst time against Corki, still going to be pretty comfortable, all things considered. So because they take the blocker Caitlyn, they also get the support counterpick. There's going to be one person who's not going to be knocked up, but everyone else going straight up in the air, Atlas.
Yeah. This is a fun lane, though. We actually saw the opposite situation with the Morgana and the Caitlyn into the Ezreal not work out so well.
I wonder what we're
having
seeing.
The Black Shield for the Zac is good.
My first thought was Lulu, actually, from the support role for even more knockups, but the Karma would be similar.
Oh, wow.
I think they're going range support. I said they wanted counterpick on the red side. It's going to be a support Karma coming through. I guess it's an outside chance of a Galio support, but let's be real. It's going to be a Galio mid lane. And SKT are being very serious about lane control. They took a blocker Caitlyn to force Pilot into Ezreal, and they counterpick Morgana with another range support to guarantee pushing. Push, push, push. We saw the push, push, push with the W Max Morgana in our first series in a Caitlyn. The Karma is all about the pushing as well. And SKT, they're ready to finish this game in 35 minutes, and they're going to knock people right up into the sky.
Yeah, it's going to be terrifying. They even have some late game insurance, given the fact that Bang will have so much range. The Hemoplague, fantastic for scaling up that damage potential as well. SKT, a lot of options as the game progresses. MVP going to have to play very carefully.
Very carefully, and they do have that 35-40 minute win condition outside of the Ezreal, but getting there, Atlas is looking really, really hard with how much initiation SKT have. Vladimir has a great time top lane against the Gangplank, who can't go for Bandit for those early gold generations that the GP is known for. Not a lot of people to pick if you are the Skarner. I guess Karma is now the person they're going to be trained upon, and Faker's back on the Galio. He was Superman, spreading his wings and carrying an SKT that looked anemic in Worlds 2017. His team is building around him. SKT are building. Playoffs is still an option, but all they can do is beat the teams in front of them and hope results go their way.
Yep, they're looking better and better, and as long as they're taking it one game at a time, things are looking better for SKT. Game 2 against MVP coming up right now.
Everyone's got to have the last word, Atlas.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah.
these MVP fans may be watching their team for the last time,
Yeah.
although that's only in the LCK. As unfortunately, yes. Oh, we got to talk about
we
this.
got a level 1 as Ian is going to come in there, pick up the first blood on the Corki.
Party Bush, Caitlyn invited. Caitlyn goes down and Bang's like, damn it, that could have happened. Didn't
Second
put it
time
in there.
today that we've seen the Dark Binding come up trumps in the early game.
Party Bush gets the Cull Corki, the first blood. That means it's going to be a long sword as well. I'm sure Faker's going to be irritated now that the laning phase is already worse for the Galio in the Corki matchup. The man that got the MVP in Game 1 going to be feeling a bit sheepish coming to lane. He does have a flash, no heal. And he does know that Faker has an even harder assignment in a lane that's pretty one-sided to Corki in the early game.
Yeah. Glad that Bang was able to hold on to that flash for what they want to do in the early game as well on that bottom side. We've got a very early visit to lane here, as it's going to be a solo start for the Skarner on the red buff. Not often something you see.
MVP are in the brush, unbeknownst to effort.
Yeah, another Dark Binding comes in. He's already solo, has to use the flash. There's no heal to keep him alive as Mystic Shot is blocked by Bang. Good Peacemaker gets a lot of damage over on both.
And we're definitely going to see a meta change, Atlas, because if you think back to Worlds, it was all about who could get to the front bush to stop there being a cheese gank or to stop there being a Scion in the front bush or things like that. Now we're seeing it happen again as people are face checking and getting punished at level 1.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, the Dark Binding doesn't hit for a second time. That could have spelled absolute disaster. But Effort is trading back. He has no flash, but Ignite is still there. There's no Ignite for Max. Potentially, that means good things. There's another mantra'd up Q coming in for Effort.
And that's the reality, unfortunately, coming crashing in their faces with the counterpick of the Karma. Morgana's got a Dark Binding. Karma's got loads of damage, and the Dark Binding gets pretty little value in the 2v2 here, so it's going to be all about lane oppression. We'll see where the Black Shield is used when the game goes on. It might have to be on the Skarner to guarantee and engage onto the side of SKT.
Yep. Good opportunity there, and with the Predator, will have the ability to close the distance. Probably not going to be onto Tal or onto Blank, because Of course, Sanguine Pull pretty damn good for the Vladimir, and Blank will be able to just use his ult to nullify the Impale, but Bang will struggle. I don't think the net is going to be quite enough to deal with it.
So the bookkeeping once more, guys. You are joining us for the first time this week, and we got plenty of SKT fans who haven't been around, and they're seeing 8.5 in Korea for the first time. We are on patch 8.5 with Kai'Sa enabled, unlike the NA and EU LCS.
Yeah.
Where Kai'Sa was disabled. The hotfix is also there. So remember that bandit items are no longer available for the GP who loves his extra GP10. So it's going to be the corrupting potion, and lesser options for gold generation on the GP.
Yeah, lesser options for Faker here in the mid lane when this was already a rough matchup. You mentioned it earlier on in Champion Select, but you guys are skipping ahead or anything like that. Ian is going to have a great time on the Corki after getting the first blood on top of everything else as well.
All Faker can do is push and back, push and back. He's going to fall low in lane quite frequently. Take longer to get going. It's going to be a Predator lane gank.
Yeah, Black Shield actually comes out. Max is going to land it as Effort is going to be the target. Beyond wants to get there, is going to get an assist. And that's 2-0 in kills for MVP very early on, 4 minutes into the game.
I mean, Max has been this master of the range support for a long time. He loved the gimmicky brand in the back in the day, making it work on the Morgana as well. That time the flash required to get a second kill. And MVP, they're not going down without a fight.
Yep. And if they win this game, remember, guys, game score is still a really big thing for SKT. Gets harder and harder as this goes on, because if they're behind in game score, the head-to-heads that they have don't mean anything.
It's a simple equation as well. If they lose this match, MVP are in relegation, so they have a lot to fight for as well. High stakes on both sides. No one wants to have to go down and have a couple of best-of-threes potentially put you into Challengers Korea. So obviously no one is going to roll over in this particular series. Hongnu Monster, they were already doomed, with MVP playing for their fortunes after BBQ's victory makes them required to pick up a match victory of their own.
Yep, all on the line. And because this is such a high match, we're going to start off with an Infernal Drake as well. So that's going to be the spawn already warded up here. As you can see, Effort was making his way up. Going to ping out some wards as they can see them.
Very interesting first buy from Faker. You'll know he goes Blasting One, which was the common first item into a Rod of Ages in previous patches. With the mana cost changes, you almost need to go for the Catalyst in order to extensively clear the wave. If you go for Blasting Wand, it's I need to clear this wave right now and all. It's basically a push and roam item because your flexibility to move away from mana regeneration isn't there now that the mana costs are pretty damn impressive. It goes up to 130 mana at Q. That's Lux E levels of mana.
Yeah, just ridiculous. You can see Faker already down to half of his mana. Blank, he's coming down to try and grab this Infernal Drake, and because of that pushing that you spoke about, Faker's able to help him as well. So priority going to be on SKT. Grabbing that Drake is huge news. They'll have 4 members down here, no chance for a steal because the Skarner's on the top side. And Blank almost dies, but he is going to be fine. His Gromp probably going to be the last casualty of the jungle before he goes back. Tries to get towards that farmy Cinder for his Cinder Hulk.
So hard for me to see how MVP wins this game because they do have very good scaling from the mid lane. We know all about the item breakpoints for the Corki as Faker's going to go get some mana from the Honey Fruit. Their backline is so squishy and their front line is a Skarner and nobody else. So face checking is going to be very difficult for them to do as the game progresses. The Vladimir hits 5 items and he just flashes in the backline and gets basically everyone chunked out on his own. So teamfight's going to be tricky. Now the early lane ganks have been good. If they can play a very early game focused game and navigate away from the hero's entrance, there are chances for MVP. But the SKT comp is sort of comp that through the patches in 2018 has been highly prized.
Yep, very, very good. Tal also going for a little bit more of an early game focused build. Has the Proto Belt coming in, very good early stats on that one. So he wants to be fighting early. Keeping up though his ADD. We actually complimented him on his GP. He's doing okay, Max. Okay, just Black Shield. He's going to be fine. Effort not going to be able to find the Inner Flame as that Q damage is concerned, but SKT probably happy just to play this one out. Max is landing some pretty killer Dark Bindings, but that Peacemaker, that did a lot more work to pilot.
Yeah, definitely a net negative trade if you swap Q for Q with Caitlyn and Ezreal, and there's no minions to halt the damage of the Piltover Peacemaker. Very, very similar ranges between ADD's Q and Tal's Q, so that's why there's going to be plenty of harass coming through from ADD.
See, SKT are continuing to get pressured out here. Max just standing in the brush, gaining the control of the vision. is really a problem. SKT have to respect Dark Bindings just hitting time after time.
And the question is why, right? Because we said Karma and Caitlyn take them in the 2v2. Why are they respecting? Notice where Blank was. He was clearing his Raptors. They have no information on where Skarner is on the map, and their jungler was topside. So walking up and trying to take a positive trade could have just been an outnumbered gank. So it's a smart time for Karma to be respectful to stop a kill coming through.
Well, Beyond looking to grab a Crystal Spire, and now Blank, not a lot of opportunities to fight the Skarner in his own territory, as it were. This blue buff just stolen away under the noses of SKT. You mentioned the fact that you don't see a lot of opportunities for MVP to win that game, and I think that maybe it needs a little bit of explanation as to why we're seeing an MVP that's playing very far forward at this particular point in time. I believe what you're doing is talking about after a certain part of the game has been hit, then SKT should be able to take control, right?
A lot of the power here for MVP in the early game is around skirmishing. I think they have a lot of chances to get a Skarner ultimate and trade up. They got good control in the mid lane, as Ian will be able to push in roam even better than Corki could previously of the Gallios. He used the special delivery just to have a mini equalizer to burn down the minions. Just in the late game, the problem is the wombo and backline access of Vlad, Galio, and Zac does seem like it'll overwhelm MVP. But in the side lane, GP gets some items. Maybe you can set up a 4-1. But since Vladimir traditionally wins the lane, you start putting it all together and saying, win conditions pretty narrow here for MVP, but 2 kills, potentially to just win lane, win game. That's still there, even if unlikely.
Yeah, and Ian's going for the most snowballed build as he can possibly go for, with the Sork boots very, very early. Has the Sheen now built up, another 10 creeps, and his Cull will be stacked. It's a good option here for the Corki. He wants to try and get to that Trinity Force as early as possible.
The mid-game dream from MVP is they get out of lane with good gold, with some kills. Ezreal and Corki go mid lane and start auto-attacking a turret. SKT do have Wombo engage, but if you disengage that and they don't have long cooldowns up, you go back to the turret and kill it. That's just what happens when it's a knock-up party coming through, a bouncy castle, as we like to call it in the LCK, is that if you disengage, walk off it, and then go for the siege, then things are good for MVP. But that happening as the game goes on and reliably being able to disengage SKT's Wombo engage is tricky.
Yep. Interested to see what Pilot is going to do this game, whether they go for a double Trinity Force spike by potentially getting that one before the Muramana is complete, and also pairing that with Ian's might mean that they can fight for the next Drake, although it is an Ocean Drake, and Beyond was able to solo out the Rift Herald, so Baron probably the next neutral objective that they want to be picking off. Very interesting options as far as item pickups for both teams, actually.
No all-ins from Tal. He's actually gone teleport, so not looking to play for the lane as much. We see Vlad's in the GP matchup to stick with Ignite for the majority of the game and use it kind of off cooldown to threaten an all-in under turret.
Well, Cannon Barrage is going to come down, but Tal has taken control of this lane. No notable item pickups have actually come in here for the Vladimir, just getting himself to a good position. Sanguine Pull just to avoid some turret shots. Takes 20% of his health bar, though, to even use it. They're going to be going back home. Rod of Ages at a pretty decent clip here, 11 minutes into the game.
It's going to be Control. It's actually going to be the Iceborne Gauntlet coming through from Pilot. Still going to be an even cheaper 2-item spike. They know they're on a timer here. As here's the all-in.
Flash comes out very, very quickly from Bang, but the Impale is all too easy. He burns down, and that's going to be the kill delivered over to Pilot. Rift Herald to follow up immediately from MVP, and the aggression is just not stopping from this team. The desperation, they don't want to be going down to the promotion tournament, and they're not giving up without a fight at all.
Yeah, Effort tried to hold onto his flash and died anyway, as they say it in. They've got the Rift Herald to tank it up and the minion wave crashing. This should easily be this coming through. In this particular case, they get it anyway. They get the kill onto Bang, who with flash couldn't get away. They take the turret down, and SKT, they lose the first objective, and we still haven't seen the Wombo engage. We know they have.
Yeah, and as the kills keep rolling in for MVP, as they're able to create more opportunities for themselves, it's getting more and more difficult as Hero's Entrance is available, which is why Beyond isn't trying to fight this Zac. SKT, the longer they wait, the more difficult actually achieving the Wombo successfully is going to be.
A lot of this has come from the level 1. They put Bang down a summoner. They've had so far the Morgana be a pick factory in the bot lane, involved in every kill so far. Is Max putting on one of his vintage performances on a left of center meta pick that's big in other regions. Only this week he's coming out in Korea. So far so good on the Morgana. The Ezreal gonna hit 2 items very soon. And even though Tal's having a happy landing phase, even though Galio's done better than expected up in CS against the Corki, It's been an isolated bot lane where all the benefit has been gotten from MVP.
Yeah, and you keep a Caitlyn behind. What have we spoken about? I mean, Ruler's last outing on the champion, you call her a tank Caitlyn. Just basically didn't do anything. If a Caitlyn's behind, she's probably one of the biggest potatoes in the game.
Well, I mean, he had a first item QSS and a pickaxe, so he was having a real bad time.
Yeah.
But
that's probably going to be what Bang has to do if Beyond's going to stay down on the bottom side of the map. It was the same situation.
Now, you have one extra flexibility in this particular comp because you have so much knock-up and CC. You could go Infinity Edge first and just try to get crits and play on the RNG game as they're trying for the dive.
Yep, the all-in is going to come down. Hemoplay gets Tal his health back, but Faker can't find the opportunity. Good flash, but it's not quite far enough as ADD should be taken down. SKT wanted to get their first kill. Oh my god, ADD almost trades one back onto Tal.
There was no safety there for ADD. He tried to flash away, but flashed straight into the Stretch Armstrong coming through from Blank. He goes down. There's a roam coming through from Bang & Effort, who packed up lane after losing turret and just came to the mid lane to support. The kill does go the way of SKT, but not really the way you want to use those ultimates, getting a single kill. They won't get the turret because Ezreal's already top.
Yeah, Effort is able to move out of the way as Beyond easily tanks up the ace in the hole with his crystalline exoskeleton shield. First turret blood has equaled about a 3,000 gold lead in favor of MVP, but they've got triple sheen item spikes, theoretically, as the Gangplank is about to pick up his Trinity Force. Good damage coming down at Effort, but unable to actually solidify any kills or anything like that. Still so much pressure. And Max just deserves so many props for this Morgana play. Setting up the first blood, setting up kills on the bottom side of the map. This is their point of power, and they've stuck with it for the whole game.
Yeah, the counter pick of the Karma has been turned against SKT a couple of times just because the bindings and the lane control from the Morgana has taken over SKT. One summoner down. Bang has not been a great Caitlyn so far this season. They've struggled on the pick, and sadly seems like an extension of that for SKT. Game far from decided.
Yeah. Still, bit of health on this turret, meaning that Bang able to pick up some of these minions, but the pressure from Pilot should mean that he'll be able to get a few extra each wave. Now Faker getting slowed down to high heaven, gets himself a taunt, but Beyond just wants to get in there with the Impale. He doesn't care about a turret. In goes Blank though. Can they turn this one around? Justice Punch is going to come down as Blank just brings a special delivery under the turret. Minion's still there though, so MVP not going to lose too much. Hemoplay coming down once again.
Ignite back.
Yeah, misses a lot of the damage, but it doesn't matter. The Ignite's ticking down. Hemoplay grabs a solo kill for Tal under the turret. And can the MVP of Game 1 save them in Game 2?
And I gotta admit, always love a man that gets rid of the teleport and gets the Ignite back. You realize he needs to take down the Gangplank in the side lane. He doesn't need to be teleporting to fights. His friends will do that. They get a solo turret, as you mentioned, but MVP inching forward slowly onto this outer turret top.
Well, Blank charging the elastic slingshot. He's got half health. Black Shield is going to be there, but he's going to pull Max in. Soul Shackle's not going to do anything. No stuns until the second tick, and they're not going to get there. Too much damage.
Yeah, Zach's really good against the Morgana because you put the first Q on, you wait out the 5-second duration, you auto a minion, and he's going to be CC'd. So able to just problem solve through the situation, take him down. Stops the turret from going down as SKT get bot lane turret. They start to arrest the gold lead that MVP was starting to open up.
Yeah, the other thing we actually forgot to mention is ADD isn't playing Kleptomancy.
No.
He's actually going towards the grasp. I don't know whether you mentioned it earlier. I might have been.
We didn't know.
Dozing off. I don't really know.
It's the second time we've seen the Resolve trees. Well, watch this first.
Yep, Cannon Barrage is going to come down as MVP really going for this.
No flash on Faker.
2.5 v1 as Faker is just going to heroically exit the mid lane. And he's going to say goodbye. Go back home.
No CC to speak of, so very easy to get away. Resolve Tree is what you take if you don't want to die in the 1v1 as Gangplank, or at least you want the most options to not die. Sadly, the Ignite was too strong for him. The free farm Vladimir able to take him down. A 55 CS lead that's actually bigger than it appears, because like you mentioned, the gold generation isn't bonkers like it usually is for GP.
Yeah, you'd expect ADD to have that Trinity Force already, so I apologize for not noticing that one earlier on in this match.
Had gone for the Spectre's Cowl to delay it as well.
Yeah, precisely.
Not really many people can lane against a Vladimir, and 80 carries are usually free food for the Vlad.
Well, he's lying in wait.
Ian definitely expects him to be here.
Yeah. Lord Vladimir comes down. That's a lot of damage out.
He's going for the all-in.
Yeah, he is. He's looking for it. Hemoplague is there. Flash has to be expended. Not quite enough. as Beyond looking to try and punish.
I don't know if he can.
Sanguine Pool is pretty damn good, and Beyond actually doesn't get the cooldown, even though he went for the Impale. Now on the bottom side of the map, ADD, he's in trouble. Winds of War down, and he loses the movement speed from popping that barrel. Blank just following him up, and he's got so many CC options. Colossal Smash comes down as ADD. He's doing his best Khan impression of the great top lane escape, but he's going to get just as punched in the face and taken off the map.
Early review for the Resolve Tree GP. He dies really slowly, but he does still die, and the gold generation delay means Trinity Force only now is complete. He's been laning with no boots, so it's very easy to be chased down by the Elastic Slingshot. No ability to dodge it because no movement speed there. MVP pushed through the mid lane. They never got that top lane turret. And Vladimir is having a happy time. Lane assignment problems have already started. This is the issue I saw for MVP. So no one can really side lane. The team fight, if you opt into it, is still massively strong from SKT if their ultimates are available. And now MVP needs to find a way to recreate how they were winning. That was in narrow lanes. That was coming from the darkness with lane ganks. Lane ganks are much less possible when 3 out of turrets are soon to be down.
It's just so scary because MVP 3-0, they managed to get the really great play to take the first turret. It felt like the snowball was on. We've seen it a bit today already, that games that are going to be one-sided, that is sort of the playbook that you're going to look for. BBQ did it twice in a row and it looked great, but MVP, unfortunately, compositionally, it didn't work. And I know exactly what you were talking about earlier on because you just never felt like the control was there like it was otherwise. It's ADD once again in a boatload of trouble. Eat some oranges though. He's going to be K for the moment, but it doesn't feel as K as other Gangplanks that we've looked at.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a bit of harassment from Faker saying, hey, I'm up here, enjoy having 400 health, be ripped away. Not going to be any more than that. Ian has had to delay his item build. He's gone for a QSS. Does he have the latitude to do so when there's Infernals to fight for? The first thought is no, is we're going Wombo time!
In goes Blank. We've got the Hemo Plague down as well. Kidnap going to come forward. Max uses his stopwatch at least, but Beyond gets nothing done at all. Cannon Brush finishes off the Hemomancer as SKT, they get another engage. The flash from Blank. They pull it forward. He's got a brilliant team fight on him, this Zach. And SKT just rip through 2 more, and they're the carries.
Yeah, double kill from the Karma. Only an ultimate available from ADD. Still has his teleport on cooldown. They'll get a turret, but SKT should break the 3rd of the game. All 3 outers down. They get a lot of damage onto it. Maybe they'll take an Infernal first and return to it later. But only Max in the mid lane. Nothing to respect, just to support Morgana.
Yeah, and SKT still behind in gold, but this is just how strong this composition is. If that engage works out the way that it does, Blank freely able to get double Elastic Slingshot engages in there as well with the Stretching Strike helping out. Just really nice play from SKT, who are rewarded with a 2nd Infernal Drake to continue the wrath of SKT throughout this mid-game.
Blank Zac, again and again, he's been able to pull it out and be a difference maker. The engage seems strange at the start, but then you know everyone's going to pile in from the side of SKT. Vladimir in the back line isn't able to actually overtake the game. The ultimate, the Hemo Plague, went wide on some of the back line. They keep going. Really nice flash Q to register onto both the AD carries. They both go down, and SKT exit with a double kill on the Karma.
Yeah, and now we're getting to the stage where the nerf on the Winds of War for Faker isn't as much of a problem. We saw BDD using it as well. I mean, it was mostly the early game that was the problem for the Galio as far as those nerfs are concerned. Now, not so much of an issue, and he's going to get, Dark Bound, and then nothing's going to come of it because he's so tanky, even though he's only got basically damage items. He's got armor and health coming in from the Rod of Ages and the Zhonyas.
You know who else has damage items? That Caitlyn's got them going. Infinity Edge and the Shiv online.
Yeah.
The Ezreal still piecing together his 3rd item. 2nd game in a row that MVP were forced to go onto the Ezreal after the blocker Caitlyn pick, and it's really working out, I would say, for SKT. The laning phase was rough. Now the items are there, and the Ezreal's got no value.
Welcome to the team fight again, Blank, as we get the knock up onto Beyond. He's being punished as meantime, Bang just solos out the Ezreal. Don't mind if I do, he says. It's Cannon Barrage getting a lot of value here, but the Caitlyn still just free hitting in the backline. Blank just going to tank for as long as possible, even going to get the Stretching Strike for the extra CC, and the taunt comes down. Tal is just going to be fighting ADD. There's so many fronts of this battle as Blank just doesn't stop engaging. Explodes, picks up another kill onto Max. And MVP, it's looking like game one all over again, out of nowhere.
And for once, the kill lead is actually more representative of the game than the gold lead, because the gold lead's only 1,200.
It's nothing.
Even though we know that every time SKT's in a 2v2 or 3v3, and certainly a 5v5, they're going to trade up. The Baron is turned on to double Infernal. Should confirm this. No smite available from Blank, no problem. They'll get it. And SKT, ready to go, strapped and ready to close this game pre-35 minutes.
Yeah, Bang's going to have 3 items here as well, but let's have a look once again. This is the wombo that we've been looking for.
It was actually 2 autos and a Piltover Peacemaker, okay. That's pretty cool. Goodbye, Ezreal. You had some armor, it didn't matter. And from there, a lot of the flashes were already down from the previous fight. Everyone walks up, and one by one, it's free food for SKT.
Yeah, such a great place to fight as well for the Galio and the Zac. The combo is amazing. Even Bang able to get work done utilizing the traps as well in the corridors. And look at Bang, just wanders past. I think he picked that up with potentially a Cinderhulk proc.
MVP, they got double Trinity Force, they have an Ezreal, they're ready to go, but unfortunately, they don't have any face checkers. As we mentioned, they don't have a front line, and Skarner and Morgana, who aren't going to be able to act as a front line when there's a Vladimir who's already strong against front lines, and he's going to get free access to the back line, and no Black Shield is going to be enough to answer him. We still haven't seen the true bouncy castle, as the Zac and the Galio haven't been able to get to the back line, but that could still happen.
Yeah, not together as Faker had the flash, so it's threatening. And engagement, not going to happen here. The split push from Tal, going to happen once again. Seems like it happens the whole time. This time around, it's going to be the 1-4 split push. Mid lane going to go begging, as I think that's actually pushing back for MVP, but it doesn't matter. Inner turret is going to go down. You can see Tal just defending his Baroned up minion as Faker. Oh, he's just so good at buying space for Bang to get auto attacks in there. Not actually investing anything really. It's just non-committal. Even with a Galio who's melee, he should feel like he has to commit. Not this time around. They're just going to inch their way forward. An inhibitor turret falls on the bottom side. Top lane inhibitor turret also under fire from Tal.
And don't get anything wrong. Don't get any bad ideas. SKT are ready to put a ring on it. They're ready to commit. They're just waiting for the right moment to go in. So far, the Vladimir is getting advantage solo on the top side with the Baron buff. They've broken the base in one spot, one inhibitor down. They continue, they roll up to mid lane, and all MVP can do is try to poke them. That's not working out.
Not working out at all. In fact, that was just poke from Bang at auto attack range as well. Onto Max, takes half of his health bar. SKT move themselves over to the inner turret, and this is going to be Faker doing it again. This time they pull the trigger. They get the boot back in. Ezreal just exits the rift very quickly. Beyond is an afterthought. ADD having to deal with this Vladimir, who's such a problem. Hero's entrance comes down. He's even got Sanguine Pull if he wants to deal with it. Crimson Rush means that Tal should be absolutely fine, and MVP can't get anything off the back.
They're going to get the mid lane inhibitor as well. You'd have to think here, MVP can't do anything. They've got no front line against this team, Atlas. That's why I said I couldn't see how it would happen. It's not going to happen. SKT looking to close the game.
Yep. This looks all too easy. They knew exactly when they were going to be strong, and now they're just taking all of the advantages that they know that they can. Faker gets another taunt. QSS has to be used from Ian. Definitely didn't want to do that, and the base is in shambles now for MVP.
Insane thing is, Atlas, this has been 2 series we have seen SKT play in this fashion, where they're aggressive, but it's controlled aggression, where Blank has been a playmaker. All 4 games we are seeing Blank on the Zac. And even though you're watching this and thinking already, you're ahead. If you're an SKT fan, you're like, we could beat the first team in the wildcard match in KT Rolster. We've beaten them in Telecom Wars, best of 5s, no problem. You're already thinking about booking your travel plans to Busan. If they win 2-0, 2-0, KSV could beat Kingzone, and it's all over. It doesn't matter what SKT do. They still don't have their fate in their own hands, and that is the scary thing, because this SKT team looks like it could really be a factor in playoffs, but it's an 18 best-of-3 season, and they haven't looked like this with anywhere near the reliability that they need to. So it's great to see SKT in this form, but if KSV upset Kingzone, if Rox Tigers beat Jinner, as you would expect they will, it doesn't matter how SKT does.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit poetic, because the early start to the split was not good at all. They become, if there is that upset, they become the biggest Jinner fans in the world. Because if they get the upset afterwards on the rocks, then there's still an opportunity.
And also Kingzone fans as well, Atlas.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Kingzone and Jin Air represent happiness for SKT. That's ironic given the 96-minute game this season.
Auto attacks also representing happiness as Bang is just doing so much work.
Are we just going to press all our buttons, Atlas? Are we going for the wombo on the turret?
I really hope it is Blank. He's going to jump in. Doesn't have the flash as he gets the stretching strike, but Dark Binding was good. And SKT just going to focus on the turret. Stretching strike, he wants it one more time as Beyond. He's just going to get destroyed. Oh! Jumps in, massive AoE damage as a double kill comes forward from the Zac. Hero's entrance just for fun as Superman Faker's just going to be underneath the fountain golden as the Nexus dies.
SKT playing with their food today against MVP. They get an easy 2-0, and their only other opposition is Kongdu Monster. This is an SKT that will be a privilege to see in the playoffs, but they don't control their own fate. They are going to be big Kingzone and Jin Air fans. If one of those two teams pick up the victory, they are in a great spot to get through. If they 2-0 and 2-0, it doesn't matter what the scorelines are, as long as either Jin Air or Kingzone upset, respectively, Rocks Tigers or KSV, they will jump ahead. They own the tiebreaker, the game tiebreaker between both two teams. But for today, it was show up and win the game, and they did that so cleanly against MVP.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it, did SKT in this game. Really beautiful. It'll be incredibly sad if they don't make it, because I want to see this SK Telecom try and make a run, because they're playing with form that we haven't seen throughout the rest of the regular season at all. I know it doesn't sound that fair, that an SK Telecom that was performing as poorly as they were early on could potentially make a run and be your LCK champions once again for LCK Spring 2018.
Hey, we're
theoretically
skipping.
It could happen.
We're skipping pretty far. But
oh yeah, but like,
if you're gonna dream,
that's a possible dream.
I think you dream much more realistic. The dream of making playoffs was gone 2-3 weeks ago. It looked impossible. True. So for SKT to be in a great spot to make playoffs is the first dream. From there, anything can happen, but Kingzone and Afrika, I think, will be very, very tough for SKT to play against. We still don't know what SKT looks like when they don't get Zac for blank, because Zac has been a crutch he has exploited in 4 games in a row. There are still unknowns about SKT, but our job is to judge them on the today. And on the today, they get the A+, they get the S+, they're getting a nice compliment. They might even get some honors from their teammates. They did really well today, Atlas, but there's still fighting to be done.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can do it against Kongdu Monster. Of course, the 2-0 will be necessary. We're going to be looking on. Of course, Saturday is going to be the day where KSV is going to be taking on Kingzone for that all-important one. See whether KSV can confirm their spot in the playoffs. But you can see the damage this time around. It's the Caitlyn that turns around a horror early laning phase and still tops it in the end.
And that was kind of my worrying thought, was whatever happened early, how do you win? How does the comp come together to beat SKTs? And I was short of answers, Atlas, and I've seen a lot of League of Legends this season, so I thought I'd have something to tell you guys about. Sadly, there just wasn't anything. They needed to win lane, win game. They needed to outclass SKT, and it's difficult to do when SKT is in the imperious form they were today. MVP again, a lot of people to look at. Blank having a great game here as well on the Zac, 4th time in a row. See what the voters decided.
Yeah, see who gets the MVP. Of course, 203rd game, I believe, of yours, Papa Smithy. And it's going to be Tal that grabs it. 2, 1, and 5 for his first MVP. Interesting.
He made one shocking mistake. He changed his Ignite to Teleport. But then he realized his mistake and said, sorry guys, went back to Ignite. And that was exactly what they needed on the side of SKT. It's going to be our first chance to talk to him. But from what I understand, because we will not have SKT at the stadium here, we'll actually be playing over at the Spo TV stadium. We should get a team interview with SKT.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have all 5 of the players that are out here today anyway.
Maybe some bonus ones, who knows?
Yeah, potentially. Maybe we'll have Coma out here as well. I'd really be excited to see that. As Tal did play a pretty great game on the Vladimir. Keeping himself alive here was pretty dangerous, as ADD was tankier than normal with the Grasp of the Undying.
Then he saw the error in his ways. Where's my Ignite at, says every Pantheon in solo queue. Well, guess what? This Vladimir had one too. Was able to walk up, and whichever AD carry you sent to the side lane or even the gangplank, Vladimir was ready to go.
Yeah, didn't really matter. That Hemo Plague didn't do quite the work, as Beyond says, I'm going to get... No, I don't. No, I'm not going to get you. He tried to get back onto Tal here as well, as he thought against trying to use the Impale. But these engages were really the beautiful part.
There's just no one for the frontline, Atlas. Everyone's free food in the front line. Everyone gets to be taken down, and while Tal died, because it was not the most ideal setup from SKT. You keep going, you keep trying. Nice flash. Get the Q through from Tal, and in the end, too easy for the side of SKT. They were able to, this is the greatest one. This is the synergy they were lacking. Remember that when Blank was playing the Zac the first time, before the 4-game win streak, and they looked all over the place on the Galio Zac. A lot has changed for SKT in 10 or 11 best of 3s, and now the synergy is right there.
And it's the fact that they lined up that play about 4 different times before that as well, and then finally pulled the trigger on the flash. Did Faker. It was just beautiful to watch the fact that they had that opportunity so many times that they waited till the opportune moment. That explosion of damage was filthy from Tal. He just controls it in the end. The hero's entrance just for fun. And he's going to be able to grab your MVP. And now we're going to be able to have a chat to SK Telecom T1. So we're going to throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation for the day. We're here with SK Telecom, who have finally been picking up these last few days, and they are here with another 2-0 victory. Very reminiscent of the best SKT we've very notional of. And we're going to be hearing from the entire team as we have the team interview for the last game at OGN. All together here for the interview. It was a very important match for you guys. How do you guys feel about the win? We have one game left remaining, and I know that it's really difficult to make the kind of the results that we're looking for, but with the game we do have written, we're going to try our best to get the best result possible. And I think it was important to get the win today. And Bang, your individual performances have been one of the best, despite the kind of the team's faltering performances altogether. But did you feel that little bit of individual differences by your performance? I just try to do what I can and just play my role. And it could be halfway a joke, but when we do the analysis, do you feel like you're actually taking care of fostering your KDA whenever you do make your plays? It's definitely irregularly high. When I feel like I'm in a situation that I'm gonna die, I feel like whenever I don't participate in those situations where I die, I don't think I'm gonna make a difference anyway. So why participate in a team fight that you're gonna die in, which you're not gonna make too much difference in? So that kind of translates for why I don't have many deaths. But whenever I'm in a situation where I can kill someone, I go and kill. I think Faker, you can have a better perspective of this entire situation. What do you think? I never felt like he was a genuine KDA player, but I feel like I do have many situations where I die in front of him, so and with game 1, we did have a wonderful game once again, picking up the MVP. Let's look at some of the highlights here, where you did pick up some of your exemplary plays here. Very much an important position with the bot lane throughout the game, and was very good with the juggling of the damage, going back and forth with who's been the tanking ones. Blank, if you have the mic. It really was. Could have been a very, very, very difficult situation with the Zac if things went wrong. Yeah, and I know what you're talking about when you're talking about very close inches that could have made a difference. I think a lock definitely was on my way in game 1. It definitely helped me a lot. I mean, analytically, you want to talk about going into the situation where you feel like you'll come out alive. Isn't that what you were thinking, though? Yeah, of course, initially I went in thinking that I was going to come out alive, but at the aftermath is definitely a little bit of luck involved with it. Result-wise, it's what we see, past is in the past, and if I came out alive, I came out alive. And a lot of people have been putting criticisms on Blank in the feel like you're just not really in the aggressive state of mind anymore. I mean, Zac, you can't really, it's really difficult to die with a Zac, and just with a passive and it's really weird to see Zach die so many times when you have that confidence. Faker, it's your 5th year anniversary today, marking the day for today. I'm sure you got a lot of tasty food and gifts all over. Feel like we should give some gifts over as well. Do you have anything to give him? You should be prepared more, Dangun. But let's talk about how this is very entertaining. And there was a lot of the very interesting gifts that came over to you. Yeah, thank you guys for the gifts. Anything like to say to the fans right now? I know recently the biggest support did come from the fans, and I wanted to take that in and really just kind of transcend myself into a higher level to improve myself as much as I can. Now, 5th year anniversary, let's talk about this just a little bit. Do you remember just one specific game throughout your career so far? For 5 years. I have terrible memory, so whenever a game is over, and another game passes, I just forget exactly what happened. But I feel like, my solo kill against Ambition is definitely unforgettable, despite my terrible memory. So you talk about bad memories, but that was from a long time ago, Faker. Well, talk about 5 years in SK Telecom, and this split, it felt like a kind of a struggle. It felt like a kind of a warning sign. What did you feel like? You as a player, what did you think? Kind of just analyzing the entire split altogether. I said this in every interview I was in, but I think it was not an individual fault, but it was a fault of the entire team, and it's something that we need to improve together on. Whenever we do bad, it's something about the other players that can kind of supplement the missing parts of a team, and it just can't really pinpoint out one individual thing that leads to what a team doesn't do. A lot of people do say, and it's just, the kind of the recalls, what happened, a source of criticism as well. Did you receive kind of particular feedbacks regarding that? Regarding my individual mistakes, I definitely am aware of it, and I feel like those things are always things I need to improve on. But within the game, when I try to go that extra step and try to be a little more greedy, and sometimes it does come out good, but sometimes when you did see him, obviously it can turn out bad as well. Of course, you guys are improving as a whole, especially Faker, from those mistakes. But kind of the guy sitting next to him seems a little more nervous than the rest of the players here. Anything like to say? Hello, my name is Effort from SKT. Just feels like a lot of people remember the kind of the old Faker, the younger Faker, when they see Effort here. But being the youngest member of the team, what are your perspective? I'm the youngest, and the older guys take care of me, so it's a good thing. Everybody takes care of me. No one in particular. Effort has been used in the beginning of the season, but has been taken off the middle of the split and coming back to the end of the split. How was the pressure with coming back and forth? Every game that I've been put forth, I was put forth to win, but when I did lose, I felt like it was my fault that I lost some of those games, and it really was kind of a mentality struggle to make sure that I always went out to win. Of course, SKT has such a high value that it holds. What do you consider with that, with you being as a player for that team? Whenever you want to be a professional player, you have to show good performances, and I think, regardless of what team you're in, trying to show the best performance you can is the important thing. There hasn't been many opportunities to do an interview with you, Effort, but anything like to say to the fans of what you want to be as a pro player? Confidently. We're not done with the season quite yet, and we do have so many things left over to do, and we're going to try our best to make sure that individually I can stay as long as a pro gamer as I can. You did say with Blank, and recently you seem like you kind of revived that offensive edge of what you bring to the game, something that has been missing for kind of first part of the season. But anything I have to say to that? I think practicing more does help with the confidence a little bit. It allows you to play more offensively. And I think my individual skills have improved as well, so that all that thing connects to a better performance. And you do get compared a lot with Blossom, with Blossom being such a very creative player in the jungle. But what are your characteristics, Blank, as a jungler? You know, whenever you see my play, sometimes you get surprised by the things that I do. It can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. And something that can be very unique to my own play style. We felt like, solo queue, all these points are very high up, which kind of shows you that you are a very good player. But a lot of people might not be aware of how good you are, especially. I feel like you controlling your mentality. Anything you like to share with that of why you wanted to kind of publicly announce that you're solo queue name? I wanted to show it when I reached #1, but before I got to #1, people already found out who I was. So it was definitely not my intention of getting that known. I was trying to reach #1 before I got that out there. Yeah, I'm having a hard time hitting first right now. Of course, everybody knows now, but I'm sure a day will come where Blank does hit #1 and we'll be able to proudly announce to the world. Of course, a very much a splendid performance by Tal, and especially with his hair color, kind of reminds you of Vladimir in itself. This is my first MVP after my debut, and it feels great. He sounds like a baseball player to me, whenever you hear his very low-tone voice. I get a lot of comparisons between all these singers in Korea that has these low voices. I hear that a lot. You said you don't want to sing. You kind of sound like a voice actor as well. Do you want to sing at least just a little bit? Sing just a little bit, come on. That's what we want to hear. This is a little bit of pressure. Maybe we'll get another opportunity to say that. In top lane, I'm sure Coach Koma gives very direct feedbacks. What is that like, receiving such feedback directly from Koma? Of course, it was a very difficult thing for you, especially in your debut. At first, there was a lot of help from a lot of people around me. And it was difficult at first, definitely, with having so much criticism at first. But I feel like everybody receives the same kind of feedback anyway. I want to try to, soak all that feedback to become a better top laner overall. And of course, we're going to be expecting a lot from Tual in the future games. But you did kind of go over that single hurdle that you need to go over, and the next one, it will be on the way. This is going to be important for you guys. Anything like to say, Faker? Kind of the last words when it comes to ending today's performance. I mean, playoff contention is kind of unknown as of yet. But regardless of how we make it to the playoffs or not, we're gonna try our best for the rest of the games. And we always thank the fans for always sticking with us and supporting us even through the hearts. So that will be SK Telecom as a team who do see a lot more success than they did in the earlier in the season, right down the later in the season, and we're going to hand it back to you guys for the end of the broadcast here.
Thank you very much, Joel. As always, getting through that slogfest of a 5-person interview, but great to see SKT after a 2-0 victory that they needed against MVP tonight.
And it was expedient, Atlas. Not even 1 hour of time on the Rift, and SKT were very, very good against MVP. Do spare a thought for MVP, whose season ends today in one way, in that they are now going to be confirmed to be in the promotion tournament. They are effectively going to be at risk of relegation down the bottom there. We should tell the SKT fans what to expect. If KSV and ROX win, they get to 10 match wins. SKT only have 1 match win left. They do not make playoffs. If KSV lose to Kingzone or ROX lose to Jinair, SKT in a great spot to move forward, because +1 would have to become 0, 0 would have to become -1 or worse, and SKT control all tiebreakers because they have the head-to-head win over KSV and over ROX. So basically SKT, they want to win, and they're big fans of teams like Jinair and teams like Kingzone. SKT, your fans are going to be watching in 2 days' time back at OGN, because they're going to be big supporters of the teams KSV and ROX up face.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So on Saturday, if you're an SKT fan, make sure you're watching the LCK, because it's outside of SKT's hands until that next day if everything goes right. Because on Sunday, that's when we're going to see SKT again. They're going to be taking on Kongdu Monster, and Afrika Freaks are going to be taking on KT after that for a bit of a show match to see one of our potential playoff matches, as they're 3-2.
And they can even go 2-1 in all likelihood against Kongdu, which, given that Kongdu hasn't been winning, they're in a great spot. But that depends on tomorrow's matches.
That's exactly right. But guys, we're drawing to a close here. Relatively early finish, but thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again on Saturday. Good night.